Hello, is anyone on tonight? Let's see who shows up. So tonight we are going to be talking about just taking care of our emotions. I forgot to pin the video, or pin the title. So let's just see if we can do that. How are you guys doing? How are you guys managing in these times? Just wondering how you guys are taking care of yourselves during this time. How's it going, everybody? How are you feeling these days? Let me just turn my sound down or off. Just wondering how everyone's feeling these days. It's been a roller coaster of emotions. Hey, Lara. How are you guys doing? How are you feeling? How are you managing your emotions? I'm hearing a lot of anxiety and worry, stress, loneliness. Hey, Katie. Thanks for stepping in. Just talking about managing our emotions, managing our children, finances, a lot of things we have to be considering tonight, considering these days. Hey guys, roll on in. Tonight we're just talking about taking care of our feelings, which can be a roller coaster. I know I have been feeling it too. And a lot of people will say, but you do this for a living. You take care of people's emotions. Yeah, but I'm a human being and I have emotions of my own and I feel them too. And, I'm not going to lie. I was doing just fine, getting everybody's schedule taken care of, doing this at this time, doing that at that time, and managing a few of my clients, because to be honest with you, therapy is a luxury these days when people have lost their jobs, and so I've lost a few of my clients, but that's okay. Laura says, I'm taking time to rest. Things have been simplified. So yeah, going with the flow and minimizing my exposure to the news. That is a really great point. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, sometimes you have to think about, give space to the emotions that come. And as I was saying, I've been doing fine and I've been managing okay and helping people hold space, and I'm still doing that. But on Friday afternoon, I was like, something just don't feel right. I felt a little off. I was getting a little snippy with my kids and family, and I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. So on Friday, I gave the kids their dinner and I found a quiet space to just stop and think. I was like, what is happening? Like, I was starting to feel that tension, that tension you get between your shoulders when you feel really stressed. I was starting to feel that. And so I was like, something's not right. So I kind of just sat there. I just sat there for a long time in quiet. And then I opened my phone and I just started to record into it what my thoughts were and what my feelings were. And the more I did that, the more I realized I was feeling worried for my children. For those of you who know my family, we have some upper respiratory stuff in our family, and I can't afford for them to get any kind of respiratory illness. So that was a concern of mine. The kids are wondering, when are we going back to school? When are we going to see our friends again? Why do we have to stay home? And we've done a really great job, I think, of explaining it to them, but I was still carrying that. And then there was a concern about how long is this going to take place? How long is are we gonna live through this for? And so I was feeling a little bit of sadness around that. And I'm not an anxious person. I don't have any mental illnesses that I'm aware of, at least yet. And but still, I was feeling some of that unrest inside. I was still feeling some of that a little bit of anxiety. And so I just had to sit down and recognize that. It's what I call, and not just me, it's not my term, but there's this term, name it to tame it. And I feel like until we identify what's going on, recognize it, lay it out in front of us, it's hard to address it. And so once I was able to do that, I was able to speak to somebody about it. I work in a team kind of loosely, and we had a meeting, a virtual meeting on Friday night, and the interesting thing is that many of us were feeling the same way. And so we were able to talk about it and help each other hold space and work through that. But I'm wondering, how are you guys doing in terms of, managing finances, dealing with the children, and if you have children, ensuring that their minds stay stimulated. Some of you I know are really great at that, but some of us struggle. I'm not an educator, and sometimes I just have to let the schedule go and let the kids be kids. But there's still that in the back of my mind. Um, you know, I know last week Friday I wasn't becoming unglued in any way, but I just had to be real with myself about what was going on with me. Um, Often in my work that I do, I provide parenting support. And often with the parents, I will say to them, kids need structure. They need to know what is happening. They can't just live, they can't just fly by the seat of their pants. It's not going to work for them. And that structure provides security for the children. They need to know that whatever bedtime is, let's say it's 7:30, they need to know that bedtime is 7:30 every night. Not 6 o'clock one night, 11:30 the next night, and then whenever I fall asleep, the next. If they know that it's dinner, bath, story, bed every single night, it provides for them a sense of safety, right? A sense of, I know what's going on in my world and I'm at peace with that. And the truth is, adults are the same way. And for adults, this is what is happening for us is that we're losing that sense of predictability. We're losing that sense of safety. And that's why many of us are feeling kind of off kilter right now. We've lost our jobs. We don't know whether or not, we're going to be able to pay next month's bills. Kids are not in school, or they're not going to daycare. You're not going to work. Your partner's not going to work. You don't know if you're coming or going. And that is creating unrest. You don't know if you'll be able to maintain your health. That is creating unrest. The government sometimes doesn't seem to know if it's up or down, right or left. And if our leaders don't know what's going on, then it causes us to feel unsafe within ourselves, right? So if you're feeling that, just recognize what it is and allow yourself to be okay with it. If you are the head of a household, you are holding the emotions of other people, trying to ensure that everybody feels okay. And that's an emotional burden in itself. And you have to recognize that and let it play itself out inside of you. Let's see, just checking my notes here. The other thing too is that if you've planned your calendar and you know what's coming in the next 3-4 weeks, and then all of a sudden everything's canceled, then you don't know if you're coming or going, and that will create a lot of problems. For people who are not in a partnered relationship or don't have children, loneliness is a very big challenge. You can connect with people virtually, and I encourage us to do that, but recognize, guys, it's not the same. I didn't realize how much I really appreciated hugging my friends until it was taken away from me. Hey, Michelle, thanks for rolling on through. Just talking about recognizing our emotions in this time and taking care of them. I don't have a big family here in the GTA. Most of my family are scattered between the Caribbean and North America. But I have some really good friends that I call family. And when I see them, it's lots of big hugs and they're lifting up the kids and all kinds of stuff, right? And you don't realize what you don't have, what you're missing, or what you have. You don't recognize the value of that until it's taken away from you. When you have no choice, then you recognize that, whoa, that was a big deal for me. People that I usually see on weekends, I don't see them anymore. Colleagues that I would hug or high five, I don't see them anymore. And seeing them on the other side of the screen, it helps, but it's not the same thing. And while it's important for us to connect like this over by phone, and I encourage that, recognize, guys, that it's not the same as touch. It's not the same as a hug. It's not the same as face to face. And so there is some loss where that is concerned. And that's one of the reasons that we're feeling um, out of touch. We're feeling off center. I miss hugs from extended families and close friends too. Yeah, it's a big, big deal. And even if you're not a hug type person, just to know that the other person is there that you can touch. If someone's talking to you and what they're saying resonates with you, you can touch their hand or touch their knee and say, I totally get it. Pat them on the shoulder, whatever that looks like, right? But we can't do that now, and that's being just stripped away from us. And there is some grief that is associated with that. So let yourself feel the grief. Let yourself recognize the loneliness. Let yourself recognize the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm. That's the other thing that I wanted to touch on. Whether it's doing some creative budgeting, trying to figure out how you're going to prevent your business from going under. You've lost the predictability of going into work every day. You are trying to make ends meet. You are trying to keep your children from killing each other. You are trying to manage the teenagers with the attitude. There is a lot of overwhelm that comes with that. It's like suddenly you're wearing all of that on your shoulders and you have to figure things out. And if you do kind of client-based work, sometimes you still have clients and I know for myself and other therapists, we're still having to help other people with their feelings, and I don't complain about that because I love that work. That's why I chose that work, but it still adds to that responsibility, adds to all those things that you have to do. So the sense of overwhelm, guys, is real. Being thankful. If you're feeling thankful, grateful for this time, don't let anyone guilt you out of feeling that. Allow yourself to feel that. Feelings of joy, of finally I don't have to go to work. I can hang out with my kids. That's wonderful. Don't let social media, don't let the news take that away from you. So that's a reminder. Again, just touching on the news. Usually I don't watch the news until it's 11 p.m. unless I know there's going to be some big announcement happening throughout the day. But at 11 o'clock, I know that actually all of my day is behind me. The children are definitely in bed, and I can turn on the news without them having to overhear what's going on. But honestly, last night, hey guys, thanks for joining. Last night I was watching the news, and they were talking about how many people were projected to contract this virus within the next few weeks and months, and how many they were expected to die from it. And they showed a map of the United States of America, and they color-coded how many people across the country they expected to get this virus. And just the sheer breadth of it, just seeing that in front of me, it caused my heart to do a somersault, guys. And that was my cue to, turn that off, take some deep breaths, drink a glass of water, and I had a shower before I went to my bed because I needed to get that out of my mind and get that off me. So, if you need to turn off your phone, I had to do that last night. So many people are online now because this is really our only means of communication. And a lot of people are on the different social media platforms. A lot of people are on Instagram, and everybody's doing a live. Here I am doing mine. But everybody's doing a live. Notifications are going off. Every time I turn around, my phone is going ping, 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 ping. I had to turn it off. Yes, it can be so overwhelming. I had to turn it off. Or put your phone on Do Not Disturb, just so you can give your mind a space to breathe. So, I just want to say, if you have to give yourself some space, if you have to lock yourself in the bathroom, or if you have a space in your closet where you can go in and just hide for 10 minutes, if you need to take a 4-hour nap in the afternoon and you're at home and you can do that, I say go ahead and do that. If that's what you need to do to cope, I say go ahead and do it. Let yourself feel what's going on. Am I feeling stressed, anxious, tired, overwhelmed, energized? If you feel like tomorrow morning you're going to do a spring cleaning and clean your home from top to bottom, don't let anyone stop you. But if it also means that you are going to lay in bed and just eat fruit all day and watch TV from the comforts of your bed, if you can do that, I say go ahead and do that. However, just keep in mind, if you're in bed every day for the next 7 days, something's going on with that, and you might want to give a friend a call or contact somebody like me. Detachment is sometimes necessary to find clarity. Exactly. And I was saying earlier that that's what I had to do on Friday. I was feeling all these feelings and they were so uncomfortable for me. I had to step away and try and just process what was going on with me. And then after doing that, I started to feel a little bit better. If you need to have, you know, a glass of wine to feel settled, I'm not a huge alcohol fan, but if, you know, I have a glass of wine every once in a while, and if you feel like that's what you need to do, I say do what it is that you need to do. Um, just be careful about the substances because that's usually about something else. But step back, think, what's going on for me? And sometimes there's so many feelings going on at that one moment that sometimes it can be hard to pinpoint. Am I feeling worried? Am I feeling it's hard to pinpoint all the emotions? Then I would say process what it is that you're thinking. If it's hard to say, well, I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling depressed or I'm feeling worried or fearful or stressed, then I would say start to process what your thoughts are. If your thoughts are, I can't believe I have to get up and do this again tomorrow, then um, speak it. I would say it out loud if you can, or put it in a journal, or record it in your phone. Sometimes when we have the words out in front of us, it's easier to walk your way through it. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna keep you guys for much longer, but what I would say is give yourself space, feel your feelings. Don't feel guilty about having your feelings, whatever they are. They're yours, and your emotions are data, guys. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It means that there's something going on inside, and your body is giving you cues as to what's going on, and we need to work our way through that. Um, I don't know. Whoever else is on here, if you feel like you want to share about how you've been feeling or what's been triggering for you lately, feel free, go ahead and share. We're all in this together. And you know, I was saying the other day on Instagram that although we are going through this virus crisis together, um, we're not all facing the sun. Some of us have all kinds of technology at our disposal. Some of us have the convenience of working from home, and some of us don't. Some of us have no technology. We've lost our jobs. We're at the last of our money, and we still have mouths to feed. So it's hard for some people, and it's just an inconvenience for others. This is not to guilt anybody. It's just to be mindful when we're sharing that many of us have different experiences. You'll be doing a short live video tomorrow. I will definitely be joining you, most definitely. Hey Mercy, thanks for stepping on in here, just talking about feeling our emotions during this time. I don't know if you have any tips. We were just talking about ensuring that when you start to have overwhelming thoughts, when you're starting to have feelings of anxiety, worry, fear, that you identify it, that you name it, so to speak, so that you can process it. And if you can't identify those emotions, that you identify what are the thoughts that you're having, because there's often an underlying emotion. And then you can start to process that. You can figure out whether or not those thoughts are real, whether or not it's realistic, whether or not they make sense, and you can replace them if necessary. But yeah, guys, feel your feelings. Don't let anyone guilt you out of feeling your feelings. Let no one tell you that you must be thankful. You can feel thankful tomorrow if you want, but today, if you're feeling worried, let yourself feel the worry, talk about the worry, process the worry. Do I really need to be worried? You know, let yourself feel it, work it through. And then at another time, you can be thankful. Being grateful isn't something that's going to run out today, guys. If you feel grateful today, that's fine. But know that tomorrow, if you don't feel thankful, there's nothing wrong with that either. Tomorrow, you can be angry that this has robbed you of your income. That's totally fine. The next day you can be grumpy because maybe you just want to lay in bed, but your family won't allow for that. Maybe you have a newborn and that's just not necessary. Sorry, it's just not possible. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling scared, know that many of us are feeling this with you, and we might not, we might be going through the same pandemic, but we're not all in the same circumstance. So be mindful of that as you are navigating your way. You take very good care of yourself. And, I'm going to be here again next Wednesday at 8. This is where I do my lives called Afterthought, because these are the thoughts that happen after my day of work. If you need meet a whole space with you, a whole space for you, slide into my DMs and let me know. I'm not too busy for you. If you need a professional consult, click the link in my bio and you can book a free 15-minute consult there. Otherwise, you guys take care and be gentle with yourselves. Good night.